Hey guys, Foxdrop here. The other day I travelled up to London to see my uncle. You can see a picture of us two together here. You can see he looks crazy enough to be related to me. And we were just chilling out at the British Museum, then we had a spot of tea in a cafe. And on the journey to and from London I had an idea to do a video on help you guys be better communicators in League of Legends. Now you would think because League is a team game that communication will be very high on the priority list, but it doesn't really seem to be the case. If anything, you see chat in game to be more of a negative experience than a positive one. In my opinion, a lot of that comes down to people not really knowing how to communicate effectively with each other and not being able to separate their emotions from just saying stuff that is constructive. So in this video we're going to take a look at how to talk to our teammates in a competitive game. The first point is to accept that some people just won't be open to the communication and you shouldn't try to force it upon them. Some people will just be very defensive and interpret everything you say in a negative way, or some people will just be really rude and think that you're another scrub that's holding them in elo hell. Either way, it will be a fool's errand to try and force communication upon these people. Instead, you should just focus on communicating with the people that you feel will be open to doing it. Next, you should try avoid making comments about the past because that's all gone and done, you can't change that. And I'm sure there'll be some of you saying that the past is important for us to learn from in order to improve for the future. And that's a very wise thing to say, and I totally agree with you. But you don't have to be talking about the past in chat, you don't have to be focusing on your mistakes. Instead, talk about and focus on what needs to be done in the future to best win your game. The vast majority of mistakes that are made in League are stuff that people know they've mucked up on, so don't grill them about it. For example, instead of focusing on the past and saying why did you split up, you should focus on the future and say we should group up. Next, you should avoid singling people out, and instead of saying you should say we. Now obviously sometimes you'll have to talk directly to someone, but where possible when offering criticism, use the term we. Even if you're only really talking about one person. That one person will still receive the message without feeling like you're singling them out and picking on them. It also reinforces the notion that you are a team, you are in this together. Instead of just 5 individuals who might be bickering at each other, you are one unit with one similar goal: to win the game. An example of this might be, instead of saying you went too deep, Riven, you could say we should be careful about going too deep. Next point is, where possible, don't make demands of your teammates but instead make suggestions. No one likes to be bossed around when they're playing League, and no one likes to have too much pressure put on them either. So say for example you're playing Lee Sin and you want to set up your Yasuo in fights. Instead of saying Yasuo stick with me in fights, say I can set you up Yasuo in fights if you want to stay close with me. Instead of being confrontational and being like you should do this, it sounds more like well if you want to do this we can. In addition, this also shifts the focus and the pressure from the Yasuo. It's not so much about him sticking with you, more so you setting him up. And lastly, don't just list problems with your teams but offer solutions to those problems. Focusing on the negatives and the stuff that went wrong will just bring your team down and doesn't help your team moving forward. Instead, offer ways for your team to be doing things better in order to stand the best chance of winning the game. For example, instead of saying to someone stop dying in lanes, say hold back, play safe, get the CS and I'll come gank for you. Instead of saying why are you fighting, instead say we should wait for everyone to be close before we go in. I know these may sound like really subtle language choices and that I'm pulling at straws here, and you think well you're basically just saying the same thing. And yeah, it's kind of true. Oftentimes it's not what you say though, it's how you say it. That's really the important message here. Don't just assume that everyone has a thick skin or is open to rational thinking. Especially if they've been making mistakes, they'll be feeling even more stupid and even more up against the wall. It's for this reason that the power of the smiley face can never be underestimated either. And of course guys, always think before you type, is what I'm about to say really actually constructive, or am I just venting? If you're just frustrated and you're only typing to get it out of your system, don't bother typing it. Anyways guys, that's all I want to say on this topic. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to me for more League content. You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and catch me streaming on Twitch as well. All of those links are in the description guys, but most importantly, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.